The urinary system helps eliminate soluble waste from the body. The function of the urinary system, particularly the kidney, is to remove nitrogenous waste from the blood, help maintain electrolyte balance of the blood, maintain fluid balance in the body, and maintain acid-base balance. Here we can see the regions of the kidney. The outer layer is the renal cortex, all of this outer layer. The inner layer is the renal medulla. And then this hollow space here in the center of the kidney is known as the renal pelvis. The renal medulla has in it the renal pyramids. At the tip of each pyramid we have the renal papilla. And in between the pyramids we have the renal columns. The renal columns are how blood vessels move through the kidney. A major calyx is a branch directly off of the pelvis. Minor calyces are branches that go to each individual papilla. As urine drains from the papilla, it drains into a minor calyx. All of the minor calyces drain into a major calyx, and all of the major calyces drain into the pelvis so that the urine can drain down the ureter. The renal artery, the renal vein, and the ureter are all at the hilum of the kidney. The nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. It's composed of a little ball of capillaries known as the glomerulus, which is surrounded by part of the renal tubule known as Bowman's capsule. Filtrate is collected in Bowman's capsule and will travel in the proximal convoluted tubules, down into the loop of Henle, back up, into the distal convoluted tubules, and ultimately into a collecting duct. Several different nephrons will drain into each collecting duct. The collecting ducts are what drain at the papilla of the pyramids. Here you see on a model the renal corpuscle, and the renal corpuscle is the glomerulus surrounded by Bowman's capsule, the proximal convoluted tubules. Here's the loop of Henle. We have some distal convoluted tubules here. These distal convoluted tubules aren't very convoluted. And then you see the nephrons, several different nephrons draining into the same collecting duct. About 25% of the cardiac output goes to the kidney for processing every minute. Blood enters the kidney via the renal artery. The renal artery makes a couple of branches inside the kidney and feeds the arcuate artery. The arcuate artery is going to be between the medulla and the cortex of the kidney. So here you see the arcuate artery. The arcuate artery feeds the cortical radiate arteries. These go up into the cortex of the kidney. Branching off of this artery is the afferent arteriole, which feeds the glomerulus, and the glomerulus is drained by the efferent arteriole. The peritubular capillaries are going to be all around the tubes. This is going to help in the reabsorption of nutrients and water. And then the peritubular capillaries will drain into the cortical radiate vein, which will drain into the arcuate vein. This will merge with several veins in the kidney and eventually drain out the renal vein. The urinary system is pretty simple, only 4 parts: the kidney, the ureter, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. Here in the cat we see the left kidney, here's the ureter, there's the urinary bladder, and here is the urethra. The bladder can be different sizes. It's a muscular organ, and if the cat died with an empty bladder, it'll be a fairly small organ. If the cat died with a fairly full bladder, it will be distended. So the bladder may be different sizes depending upon whether the bladder was full or empty at the time of death. The male and female systems differ slightly. We still have the urinary bladder in both, but in males the urethra is much longer than in females. Here you can see much shorter in females. In males, the urethra has to go through the prostate gland, then through the penis. This means that females are more prone to urinary tract infections than males because it's a shorter trip for bacteria to climb up this little bit of short urethra to get into the urinary bladder.